Here's my riffs of the week. Some didn't make the cut last week. What you doing, Dana Carvey? When I hear that, I go, fuck.
When you're listening to the podcast?
Those psychotic twins who just take my comedy away. Just, what you doing, Dana? Really, and sometimes it really feels like they're saying, what you doing, Dana Carvey? You know, as opposed to, what you doing? I liked it the first 3,000 times. Okay, I'm just going
to... segue.
Sometimes, like, I tried a Red Necky with David, what is his name? Spodler? Dave Spade? Dan Spidler? David Spade, all right.
Denny Spitfire.
Denny Spitfire, something like that. And I tried a Red Necky, and it was too long, so I took it upon myself. You know, your eyesight's going. You need 2.0s. You got giant letters. But I just want to see clearly. Okay. Here's. Are we recording? Yes. Okay. Always recording productions. Okay. I just tried a Red Necky joke. See what you think. Okay. You don't have to get into it. I'm Red Neck. The funniest part always will be the idea that I'm doing this, not anything I say. It's a living, folks. I'm Red Necky, the redneck comedian. My mama said, "What's your dream, Red?" I said, "I don't know, live in a shack in the woods and drink beer all day." She said, "It's dangerous to dream that big because you're always going to end up disappointed." Come and get some. Maybe a word or two, but the gist of it. Mama said, "What's your dream, Red?" I said, so here we go. This is process. Mama sets up the thing. Mama said, "What's your dream, Red?" Okay, now we know. He said, "I don't know. Maybe I don't need that." He could have said, "Live in a shack and drink beer all day." Probably cut out, "I don't know." Less conversational. Mama said, "What's your dream, Red?" "Live in a shack and drink beer all day." She said, "It's dangerous to dream that big because you're always going to end up disappointed." So you want to go kind of fast at the end because once they hear dangerous to dream, the subconscious mind knows you're running for the thing. But pretty good joke. But I might, shut up, Brian. He's telling us how he does things. Which is true. But so the second part maybe should be, that's a dangerous dream. No, but maybe it's okay. She said, "Dangerous to dream that big because you're always going to end up disappointed." Going, he's on. Fauci still is coming out, because everything's going really well. We're looking for 70% with a vaccine by the, and today he was on Daily Mail. There's still variances, he does come out once in a while that it ain't ending. You got to be careful. We got the Boston variant. Your head turns into a can of baked beans, literally. Your wife says, "Where's the can open? I'm going to open you up and look what's on your brain." I've officially, this is very much the way I work. I officially abstract things into gibberish. Every character goes, but I do like him kind of constipated Fauci at the end. "You're going to open up the top of your head and look at the beans inside. And remember, from the bottom of my bottom, go fuck yourself." Go fuck yourself. Okay. And I got pages. I'm almost done, folks. Stuff that didn't make the cut last week. Okay, here's some Frank's stuff. That didn't work. Now, here's notes. I'm holding up notes of Frank's epic interview, whichever one's talking about. How did it go in Ireland with your interview?
I got some good feedback. Yeah, people thought a lot of people enjoyed it. They liked it.
Yeah, I do think that there was a lot of just information about the Irish character and the way the Irish think about themselves and their culture.
Oh, yeah.
Which was really interesting.
All positive.
So I'm from Missoula, Montana, and now a lot of these celebrities want to adopt Montana. So I saw Ben Affleck. No, I'm kidding. I love Ben. I saw him wearing a Montana Big Sky baseball cap in one of his, gym runs with J-Lo. I thought, brother, interloper much? I am a native, born and somewhat raised. I'm Red Necky, the redneck comedian. My daddy always said I'd never amount to much. Really? I weigh 500 pounds. Come and get some.
Yes.
Really?
That was a good. I like that.
That was all right. It's just a bad, silly pun. Now people are going, "Shut up, Brian. Maybe it was a joke. We don't know if Red Necky, we don't know what he looks like, Brian. You don't have to pretend." Okay, last week I did a few new characters. One didn't make the cut, but it was Cryptic Guy. You ever have a friend who's kind of cryptic? Hey, we're thinking of going to the beach. Okay. We're going to take the 101 and then take Cane and Dune Road. Really? All right. What's the problem? If that's what you want to do, Cane and Dune Road, huh? Okay, thank Cryptic Guy. Okay. Johnny Victim. I don't think I have one for him. Hold on. There's not enough victimhood here. Clueless, opinionated guy. We should just stop. Now he's Brian, basically. We should stop all fossil fuels now. Just have no gasoline. How would you get to work? I don't know. Thank you. Thank you, clueless, opinionated guy.
What would you name the person that always, like when there's good news, they always have to like follow it with well.
I would just call them Rain Cloud. Rain Cloud, how you doing? It's all right. What do you mean? We had a picnic and it was great, but then after about 3 hours, started to sprinkle. But you had a 3-hour great picnic, yeah. But then clouds came. Whoa, Rain Cloud! Literally, you got Rain Cloud. What else is going on? We went out to dinner and this special the lobster roll, they didn't have it. It was a really nice restaurant, but they didn't have the lobster roll. Okay, Rain Cloud, you always look for the negative underpinning. Yeah. So you literally answer to the name Rain Cloud? Yeah, that's what I am, Rain Cloud. Life will fuck ya. We should just have Mr. Positive.
Oh, yeah.
Why are you so happy? I don't know. I'm alive. What's his name? Positive guy.
Mr. Positive guy. Mr. Positive guy. Mr. Sunshine.
Johnny Victim. How's it going, Johnny Victim? Yeah. Got fucked, man. What happened? What happened? I was going to the beach and there was some suntan lotion in my roommate's drawer, so I put it on. But it expired. I got a fucking bad burn because the suntan lotion was like from 1988. Got fucked. Sorry about that, Johnny Victim. That's my name. Sinead O'Connor was making noise again about ripping up the Pope's picture on Saturday Night Live.
Why? Is it the anniversary of that?
I don't know. It's 30 years ago. And she's like, and then when I got off stage, because she's Irish, when I got off stage, there wasn't a person in sight. Well, first of all, I had no problem with her ripping up the picture of the Pope.
Was it your...
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was hanging out. I had no problem with it. I would have approached her, but she had like this force field around her. I was supposed to give her a hug. So the cast was not looking at me or talking to me after I ripped the picture of the Pope. In the world I live of stand-up comedy, pre-wokeism, that was nothing. Ripping up a picture of the Pope. I mean, we had jokes of molestation and all this stuff. You know what I mean? There's an Iowa variant. Your head turns into a head of a corn. Your wife's like, can I get a piece? Shut up, Brian. You're just extracting the character. Okay. We got a good rednecky. That's off to a good start. So a friend of Tom and Dex is in New Orleans this weekend, and he's had a little bit of an interesting adventure. He's just out there partying and having fun. His name is Max.
Dex, Carvey, how we doing?
Hey, this is Dana too. We're all here. How you doing, Max? Good to talk to you.
Doing well, Dana. How are you doing?
Fine. I heard you were down in New Orleans, just taking a well-deserved vacation, a break, and you had a couple misfortunes. Nothing dark or too negative, but what happened down there, Max?
Yeah, so I've been drinking pretty heavily since I got here.
Okay.
It is New Orleans.
Right. What have you been drinking and kind of how much?
So we started off with these drinks called the hand grenade. And I don't know what's in them, but they're dangerous.
It's a good name for a drink that's dangerous. Okay.
And then we also had something called the horny gator as well.
Oh, those are delicious. Okay.
Yes, they are.
They're
bad news.
So you're slightly buzzed all day, wandering around New Orleans. So then what happens?
So, what ends up happening next is we're popping into bars, playing some good hip hop. And then as we're leaving towards the end of the night, a certain woman came up to me, started chatting me up, got a little handsy with me. I was a little inebriated, so it was like, this is kind of pleasant. And then she was, trying to solicit services from me. I was not interested. She started to grab me harder as I kept walking and started to try and elbow her off of me. Because at this point it was assault.
Okay, I'm listening.
And then the last thing that happened is she said, I have to throw up. And she started taking a left turn down a side street. And I was like, great, she's gone. And then about 5 minutes later, I realized my watch is gone. And that's the first night.
Oh, gosh.
So you're pretty buzzed. This woman comes up, maybe in a certain sort of called the world's oldest profession, starts to elicit you, gets frisky, gets handsy. Did she smell your hair?
I don't have hair, so no.
Oh, okay. Well, you got some hair, but anyway. So it's a classic misdirection. She's elbowing, grabbing this. She's getting you all excited. You're buzzed, and then she's able to get. Now, is this a heavy, expensive watch, or what kind of watch?
My friend says it looks like a Rolex, but it isn't. But it was, $600 when I bought it.
Holy tomatoes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So.
But Max, sorry, Dex here. This happened 2 more times, according to Tom,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, that was the first night.
First night. Okay, now let's go to night number 2. Okay, folks, that was the first night. $600 watch. Boom. Night 2. You've had a hand grenade or a whatever. You're
Horny gator.
a horny gator, and you're wandering around New Orleans streets. Then what happens?
Pretty much the same thing, but there were 2 of them this time.
Okay. They're coming at you. One from behind, one the front.
From the side. And the thing is, like the first night, my buddy saw what was going on and found it amusing.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of walked. The second night, after knowing what happened the first night, he did the same thing. He just watched amused as I was manipulated by a couple women of the night.
So they came in, started to solicit you and grab at you, both of them?
Yeah, but I was a little more defensive that time because I knew what was going on.
Where were they
that was
grabbing you? How aggressive were they? They're grabbing your ass or what? Yeah.
Yeah, they were grabbing my ass, and then I tried to reach for my wallet.
Right.
I had already put it in my front pocket, so it felt safe.
Mhm.
And then, I was grabbed somewhere else as well. On
Oh.
the front side of me. And that sort of was not good. And then I sort of did a little leg movement and started to try and shimmy away, but realized that was the distraction because all my focus was on, getting grabbed
Yeah. Yeah.
in the spot. And then they pulled it out of my front pocket without me noticing.
So
And
within
then,
a flash, they grabbed your crotch and pulled the watch out of your front pocket, and you shimmied away. Then what'd you do?
I didn't know that again.
Oh.
They left. And then I ran around Bourbon Street for about 15 minutes yelling that, my wallet is stolen.
Oh,
and I
I'm sorry.
run into bars. I ran right into the strip club.
Boy.
I got thrown out of the strip club. And it was a mess.
Maybe
I'm
a
trying to
strip
find-
club wouldn't be the best place for you to be at this point. But I'm sorry about that, Max. That's a hassle. But so then you're done, right? Nothing else is taken from you in the New Orleans streets. Or is there a third episode?
Yeah,
Yes?
they got my gold chain.
Okay, that was the next night or the same night?
That was the next night.
The next night. Okay, so you had a hand grenade and a gator boozer, whatever. So you're feeling no pain. Then what happens? What do you see coming at you?
All right, so this time was different. They came at me from the front. The first 2 times they came from the sides and the rear.
Are
They
they
came at me from the...
are they the same women?
No, I don't.
Different.
I don't know.
Don't know.
They-
Okay.
I think it's they're part of the same syndicate. I would guess.
Right. So you're what they would call a mark
I was their mark.
because you're a
They
nice
knew I was
nice person.
target.
Yeah. So they come this time. They've taken your watch. They've taken your wallet. Do you have your pants?
I have my pants.
Okay, so now they're coming at you from the front on the third night of debauchery, and what do?
So they knew I was vulnerable, and they came at me from the front.
Yeah.
I, unfortunately, am a nice person.
Yes.
Who gives people the benefit of the doubt too much.
Yes.
So when she came right up, and she just threw herself at me, like, hard. She grabbed my head, moved it down into her bosom,
Okay.
and made a motorboat noise, and said, "I want daddy tonight."
Wait, okay, slow down. She moved your head down into her cleavage of her boobs and said, "I want daddy tonight." So at that point, you weren't even thinking about anyone stealing anything, right?
Yeah. At that point, my head was somewhere else, let's say. And I forgot to mention this on the first two, and this is why I should have been tipped off the third time, is they kept going to my nipples, too.
So they would grab your male nipples and twist them?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Well, that's a classic distraction. Pickpockets all over the world. The titty twister, they call it. Anyway, sorry, Max. So then what happened? What'd they get?
So the girl came, so the one shoved my head into her bosom. The one came from the back and was grinding up on me, and I'm starting to realize this might happen again. And then I realized the only thing I have left is my gold chain. So
Yes.
Dignity.
I grab it and realize it's gone, and I try and grab one of them, and it's the other one that had it. And then she wrestled away and tried to make it look like I was trying to rob her, so then I just had to get out of there. So I lost everything but my phone and my pants.
Your phone and your pants. So they got the watch, they got the wallet, and they got the gold chain. Maybe at some point
Yeah.
they'd show pity on you. Like if you walk around tonight, even with flashing stuff, they'll go, "No, we've harvested that enough. We want him to come back to New Orleans, get inebriated, and walk around with good stuff and jewelry and other collectibles." Anyway, I'm sorry, Max.
Yeah.
We're laughing, but you seem to have pretty good sense of humor about it.
You know, I'm not dead, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, that's the story. I could tell you some other stories about what I get up to and the hijinks I've done traveling, at another time.
We'll have you back. We'll call it Max's hijinks. You know.
Perfect.
But this was perfect. We'll talk later. But what's your strategy for tonight? You're not going to have anything they could take except your pants and shoes or shirt, right?
There's nothing they can get.
There's
So
nothing they
that's
can
that.
get. Yeah. Well, I don't know if this is going to happen, but I'm a romantic at heart, and maybe one of them has a heart of gold, and we'll give you your stuff back tonight, and you'll just have like coffee and cherry pie at a diner. I don't know.
I sure hope so, but I'll have to report back what happened
All right.
tonight.
Well, good luck. Good luck with that, Max. That's an amazing story, and I'm sorry it happened to you, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Enjoy yourself.
All
Thanks for
right.
coming on, Max. That was a blast.
Absolutely. Talk soon.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Max.
That's the greatest story I've ever heard.
It's crazy. Did
I
you
know,
Go
well-
to the same bar.
The thing about Max is he is extremely nice and a kind person, and so the booze, and you kind of almost have a grudging respect for it. It's almost like some sort of Darwinian fishing for, like, you hit them. I mean, that's what pickpockets do. They'll bump into you and they'll get your wallet, and they're really good at it. Frank's probably when you needed cash.
Didn't Johnny Carson have 2 horny gators?
Yes, I did. I had 2 horny gators at the crab shop down in Daytona Beach. Yeah. I guess we should get Brad.
Let's call him up.
Or zoom him.
him up.
Yeah. So this is my brother Brad, one of the downstairs brothers. There he is.
Hi.
Brad, your hair is great.
Well, I have a lot of it.
That is awesome. Oh man. So that
Frank hiding to the left or to your right?
Frank is to my right, your left, and this is Chris.
Hi.
I'm not going to be able to keep track of that. He's over there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see you.
Scoot in.
You don't have to know names or anything. We'll just be talking. And if they chime in, you'll go, okay, hey, you. So for our audience, since this will be broadcast, so to speak, Brad is the one of my brothers. You've heard from Scott. You've heard from my sister Lori, and we've referred to the downstairs brothers, which were Mark and Brad. And just to put a precursor on it, Brad was the science kid of the family, the mechanical kid of the family, the kid who was good at math. He always had Popular Mechanics magazines. He built forts. He built laboratories. He fixed an arcade bowling machine. He built a submarine. I don't know. He fixed the dryer. And so he's been an engineer and done all this great stuff. But today we're going to go over Brad Carvey in the crazy Carvey household. So when we moved to the Wellington house, the downstairs family room, they bifurcated it with balsa wood. They made a little small bedroom in the back for you and Mark, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they didn't spend much money, and they made this wall.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know what kind of material it was made of. It had 2x4s and some kind of really thin material. I do know that maybe after a year or so after we moved there, we had a television downstairs, and I had a hole through the wall so I could watch television after my bedtime.
So you drilled a hole in the wall. So what happened was, because there's so many stories, and we won't get to them all on this broadcast, there was an accordion door made of vinyl or something that would close. There wasn't an actual door with a doorknob. There was an accordion door, and then at some point, I don't know, you can tell us what you did, but you created some kind of electronic lock system with 3 buttons. So what was that? And how old were you?
Yeah, it was far more complicated. I would guess I was middle school at that time. It was pre-high school, might have been elementary school. But probably around the time Maxwell Smart was on television, so mid
Get Smart, late 60s, yeah.
And so I like this idea of having a door that opened, or maybe it was Star Trek, but actually I never saw Star Trek because I was going to confirmation. That's a point.
And you're an ordained Lutheran minister, but that's another story. No, he's not. I'm kidding.
Yeah, there's too many stories. But,
okay.
So I'm sorry. I lost my train of
Well,
thought.
how'd you make that? What did you do?
Oh, the door.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the door. Okay, so I wanted to have a door that opened by itself. So what I did, so this door was an accordion door, and it had a magnet that would keep it closed. So what I did was I took a rope and I tied it onto the top of the door, and then I drilled a hole through the door frame and put a rock there. So when the door opened, the rock would make it open really fast. And the way that I kept it closed was I took a Band-Aid can and I cut out a little strip with a hole in it. And then I took a solenoid from the pinball or the bowling machine, and I used the solenoid as a bolt to the solenoid would open up, pull the bolt out of the Band-Aid can hole, and it would open like really fast.
Yeah.
And then you have to cock it closed. And then to get it to do that, I put a photoresistor on it, and I had something like a ballpoint pin that had a modulating light. So if you held the ballpoint pin up to the sensor, and if it was at a certain frequency, that would open up the solenoid and the door would open.
Wow.
Well, I had 3 buttons inside.
Yes, that's what I remember.
Yes, and one was for locking the door, one was for opening the door, and one was for overriding the pin thing so that wouldn't work. Well, Mark couldn't figure it out, so he got locked in the room.
So Mark got locked in the room, and then he couldn't figure out your invention and couldn't get out and got really frustrated.
Right, so he tore the door apart. So that was.
And Mark was called the Hulk. He was kind of the biggest kid. So he did it in a violent rampage. He destroyed your experiment and your accordion door.
Yeah, he destroyed pretty much everything I ever did.
Well, you guys had an interesting relationship. Mark was a world-class, and I did too. I wet the bed, but I was proud of it. And, I'd wake up, I'd go, yeah, did it again. But Mark was the ultimate bedwetter and sleepwalker, right?
Right. If you were on the bottom bunk, it would rain.
But literally, Mark was on the top bunk. And so it got so bad that mom and dad from some catalog or something got a bedwetting device. It was like a plastic sheet with some kind of device, right?
Yeah, so I think it was more like a door-to-door salesman. We used to have those a lot in the old days.
Yeah.
And I think he was selling a solution because there was a guy came into the house, came in and he installed this system, which I remember was like, it seemed like it was cardboard with aluminum foil on both sides and a bunch of holes in it. And the idea was that when any liquid got on it, it would set off an alarm. And
Yes.
but Mark would just sleep through it and it would wake me up.
And it would still rain because you're on
Right.
the bottom bunk. Yeah.
And so the guy came back and the parents were complaining because it didn't work. And he's like, I've never seen anything like this before in my life because it makes a really loud noise and it's always effective as soon
Right.
as they start peeing at all. But he just kept peeing and peeing and peeing and peeing and he actually shorted out the device and destroyed it. Now, I don't know if they had to pay for it or whether he just took it back, but I remember him going like, I've never seen anything like this before. In my life.
Well, did mom and dad ever think of switching the location, like to put the bedwetter on the bottom? Because I wet the bed, but Scott was safely on top. But why put the raining character and then the non-raining? You know what I mean? So they should have shuffled you
Well,
guys.
that's the reason I built the forts. I had, sheets of plastic between his bed and mine, and I had walls and.
Well,
that's
just
part of that.
from the little
But
brother.
eventually we went flat. We
Right.
The bunk beds eventually went away.
Right, we took them off. Yeah, we figured it out. Now Mark can make hay over there. But I, as a younger kid, I remember going into your downstairs bunk, and Brad created like a lair. It was like with sleeping bags. He would always have a light bulb with an attachment thing, so there was light in there. And I believe you'd made switches from your bedstand so you could turn on a little record player from your bed. Everything was about you not needing to move but control things.
So I reasoned, a lot of times I reasoned stuff and almost blew the house up, but I reasoned that if you took all the knobs from a radio and you got wire and you just added wires so that all those knobs were away from the radio, it would still work. I mean, logical, right? So
Mhm.
I mounted all the controls for the radio in my bedpost.
Cool.
And I just ran wires and we were allowed to do weird things. So I just drilled holes in the floor and ran the wires underneath the house and then came up to the radio. So
Mhm.
I always had lots of radios, collected radios. And so I could turn on the radio from my bed. I could change the volume and I had a headphone jack. I didn't have any headphones, but I had a headphone jack.
Well, when did you
Go
get
ahead.
recruited to kind of be the handyman of the family, even though you're like 8, 10 years of age, rather than Daddy Bud, because you had such a inordinate talent for this stuff? So, I mean, first describe the tool drawer in the kitchen, because it didn't seem very impressive. We had a
Well-
tool drawer, but there was nothing in it really.
Yeah, so my dad, I guess he always wanted to be an engineer and he had no aptitude for it, and I did.
Okay.
And so as a little kid, he was always in my way. I was trying to fix things. And I was like 9 or 10 when I fixed the car. I put a new something on or whatever. But the dryer story is actually a true story. I wasn't 5 years old. It probably was a kitchen knife. It certainly wasn't a screwdriver. We didn't have screwdrivers.
Kitchen
tool
knife.
drawer probably had a hammer.
That was always lost. Never knew where the hammer was.
And if there was a screwdriver in there, it was either going to be a Phillips when you needed a regular one or vice versa. It was never right. But I heard that the dryer was broken and I went, and this is my personality. I don't know why I would do this, but I took a kitchen knife,
Mhm.
not a sharp, just a regular knife. And I went down into the laundry room and I pulled the thing out and I took the back off. There was, like 6 screws and the belt had come off of the pulleys. But the thing that was kind of unique, and Dana may not even know this, I noticed that there was a flaw in the design, that the pulley could come off again because there was nothing to really prevent it from coming off. So I modified the inside of the dryer so that the belt wouldn't come off the pulley. And when I went upstairs, and I was always embarrassed because my dad didn't like the fact that I could do this stuff. So in that Garth voice,
You'd think he'd be proud. Oh,
yeah, no, I
Jesus.
was embarrassed. But I said, and this is probably literally a quote, even though Dana does it in his thing, but I said, I fixed the dryer and it won't break again. It because I had modified the design so that what had gone wrong would not go wrong again. And it was always like, I was nervous that Dad would get mad because I fixed it. He always was trying to get next to me to take credit for what I was doing, and he was always
Oh, we fixed it together. That dryer, just quickly, I remember when I was maybe just in kindergarten or something, at some point I crawled in that dryer and got the door to close. So I was just in there, trapped in there. So I was just banging. Finally, Mom came out and said, "What are you doing here?" But most kids get trapped in trunks or in different.
There was a Mongoloid kid next door to us.
Can you say Mongoloid? It's 2021.
Cancel.
Well, in 1955, that's what he was called. And his name was Pee-wee.
Pee-wee the Mongoloid boy. Okay. Was he tall? No. Okay.
No, he was short. And for some reason, Mark decided he wanted to see him spinning around in the dryer.
Oh, so he threw him.
Remember, Mark put him in the dryer and turned the dryer on. He was tumbling around.
Oh, boy. That downstairs. Yeah. Boy. Yeah, Mark was pretty, he was like Hercules.
So he just had no filter. He just didn't know.
He just thought that'd be cool, put a kid in the dryer and turn it on.
Yeah,
Watch
he
him.
wasn't being mean.
Yeah. It was just, yeah.
I was 5 years old. That was the year a bunch of us decided to run away from home. But after about an hour, everybody turned back, and I kept going. I went about 20 miles. They found me at like 8:30 at night, pitch black, hiking along the highway going north.
And how old were you? About 5. And so you had decided, I was only 1, so I probably only went 10 miles. But you were... Everyone runs away at home. Did you guys ever run away from home, Chris? Or
I think I pretended. 'Cause
Pretended?
when I put the stick and the bandana on there.
Oh, the little thing, the hobo look?
Yes.
Yeah, so you tried to run away from home. I remember also that you, Scott, and Mark did the John F. Kennedy challenge of a 50-mile walk. Tell that
We
story.
Did it twice.
Did it twice.
The first time Scott wasn't there. The second time Scott was there. The first time we hiked from our house to the ocean.
Which is about 20 miles. Or
It ended up being about 20, 25 miles.
Mm-hmm.
When we found out that it was only 25 miles or 20 miles, we did it again with Scott, and we went further. We got 35 miles.
So you went, you came back, and you guys would leave at like 3:30, 4 a.m., right?
Well, the funny part of that is that, as you know, and everybody else doesn't, I don't like to sleep. I sleep 5 hours a night now, but when I was younger, I'd sleep like 4 hours. And so we asked the parents if we could hike to the ocean and back.
Right.
And they say, sure, like whatever. So I get up at like 3:30 in the morning and I wake Mark up, which was very difficult. And we start hiking. So it's 4 a.m. by the time we get about a mile away from the house, and we see a cop car. And we run and hide behind this big tree because it's 4 a.m. and we're hiking.
Right.
And the cop catches us. And he says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, we're hiking to the ocean." Well, that's like going over the Santa Cruz Mountains. It's like insane. And he doesn't believe us. So somehow his radio patches them into a phone, and they call the parents, wake up the parents at like 4:30 in the morning. And do you know your kids are out here and they're claiming they're going to hike to the ocean? And they go, yeah, they said something about that. This is a different time, obviously. And so the cop was fine with that. And then as we were hiking, he would drive by us every hour or so and wave. And we had little sack lunches with like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a banana and like a World War II canteen. So we had a quart of water for the next 12 hours. And then the parents came by as we were coming back. So we'd gone to the ocean and we were about 5 miles from the ocean. We were just going to start climbing up the mountains.
Skyline.
And they tried to get us in the car.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, no, we can't do it. And then when we got home, Dad was teasing us about being tired. And so, of course, we had to pretend we weren't tired. And I remember lying on the floor, like seeing Ed Sullivan or something, and my legs were like wrought iron. I couldn't move them. I was completely gone. But I had to kind of pretend like, oh, I'm fine, and sort of dragging myself.
So, jumping around a little bit here, Scott was on and he told the year, I don't know what period of time, when you and Scott, you would have been 8th grade, because I know I was 4th grade. Scott would be 6th grade, when we went on a crime spree. I smoked cigarettes, I fought, and I stole. And you were kind of, but you said you did it for sport. You literally never took anything from the stores, but you would just do stuff so it looked.
I like the idea that I was a mastermind criminal, and that I could steal something if I wanted to, but I wouldn't. No, I never stole anything. In fact, I've had multiple polygraphs for clearances, and if I had stolen anything during that time period, I would have had to mention it.
Wow. So I never could have been in the CIA because I just took it all. I took my bounty home.
No, they're looking at character and stuff. But if you lied about stealing and then somebody said, yeah, he stole a bunch of stuff, that would probably be a problem. But yeah, if you said, yeah, I stole a bunch of stuff, like you stole a yo-yo and got caught, I don't think that was enough to, like, oh, well, this guy's never going to get a clearance. Forget that guy. He stole a yo-yo.
Do you remember
that's the kind of stuff you stole, right?
I stole for all the kids outside of Woolworths one day. I said, you want a yo-yo? And I'd go in, I'd steal a yo-yo. Would you like a yo-yo? I'd steal a yo-yo. I had no filter. We went to Lutheran church. We went to Lutheran church, but we didn't get, much. It was Pastor Jerry. I don't know. He had a couple girlfriends on the side. I mean, it was not a really devout church. You remember Pastor Jerry?
Jerry Dumbler, yes.
Jerry Dumbler.
I was an altered way. I think I was the only one in the family that had to do that.
They did the abracadabra with me. I was on one knee. I did go to the Bible school, and then I did get ordained or whatever I call it. I'm an official Lutheran.
So you go through, for those of you that don't know, if you're Lutheran, when you're in your, like 12, 13 years old, you go through 2 years of confirmation. Mm-hmm. So with me, I did it with Mark. And so every Wednesday night for 2 years, we would have to go and learn all this stuff. Wow. And we weren't really good students. And it just happened to be that Wednesday night when this new show called Star Trek was on. I never saw the original show because of that. So I'm a little
that's a tragedy.
Yeah, especially for somebody like myself who loves gadgetry and stuff. But so when you get through with that, the pastor asks you a bunch of questions. And so he calls Mark in, and I'm sitting outside. It's like kind of like being at the principal's office. You feel like you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And Mark is in there for a really long time. And I don't know what's going on, but as Mark comes out and I'm heading in, all Mark says to me as I pass him, he says, "It's a trick." I'm walking in there, and we've done horrible for 2 years. We haven't done well on the test because you're constantly learning and being tested. We're kind of like the D students of confirmation. There's some people that are like straight A students. And so I go in there, and he says, well, to go through confirmation, you've done all this, and you didn't do that well on your grades and stuff. And so he says, but could you tell me what a good Christian is? And of course, in confirmation, you're taught to read the Bible, and you do all this stuff, and you get 10% of your income. It's this big thing. And they drill it into you when you're confirmed as a Lutheran that these are the things you'll do. And so I just kind of panicked. I didn't know what to say. And I said, believe in God. And then I froze. I couldn't think of any of the other stuff they taught us.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah.
And he's kind of like prompting, like, well, wasn't there anything else you want? Like, what is it? And I finally, as he's prompting me and asking me, he finally says, well, is that all? And I said, isn't that enough? And he let me go.
What you doing, Dana Carvey?
When we would drive from California to Montana, they were 2-lane roads pretty much the whole way. And as we got close to Montana, we're going through like Idaho and parts of Montana, we're going through like the Rocky Mountains and other places like that. They're 2-lane roads. And we have a big car fully loaded with stuff and people. And my dad didn't like us getting caught behind slower cars.
Yeah.
So there was a truck going up the hill, and And again, cars back then could be anywhere from like 20 horsepower to hundreds of horsepower. Nowadays, there's rules that you're not supposed to drive a car with like 16 horsepower on highways. But back then, you'd have cars going up these hills at like 20, 25 miles an hour. And so this happened to me. It happened to Mark. And the time you're talking about, we're going up this hill and Dad is yelling at Mark to pass, pass, pass.
Well, you know what he'd say also? He'd say, "Oh, Jesus Christ, kick it in the ass."
Well, yeah, that's right.
Floor
Kick it in the ass.
Kick
which
it.
meant
Oh,
put the gas down.
kick it in the ass.
Ignore the fact there may be a car coming and it's a 2-lane road and there are cliffs on the side. And all
Yeah, it
that.
didn't matter.
Kick it in the ass, floor the thing, and get around that damn slow car. And it's happened certainly to me and to Mark. And that particular time, he's passing and there's just a car. We're gonna die. He's just gonna
I saw it. I saw the duck and cover. It was just like scary.
and then we sort of poked our heads up, and I don't know. I assume the other car avoided him somehow because he wasn't skilled enough to avoid a car. So I don't know if maybe they went off a cliff for all I know and went flying. We just kept going.
Well, I got Dad to be quiet once because I was too shaky because I was driving Cascade Mountains, Southern Oregon. So windy, hilly, fast, kick in the ass, Jesus Christ, kick in the ass. I'm 15, I look 11, and I'm just barely making it around this corner, and he just got very quiet because he thought I was going to lose it. He wasn't going to kick in the ass, I wasn't going to. So I did get him a little bit like, "Oh, okay, don't kick in the ass, just make it around this turn." And then I made it and he goes, "Oh, Jesus Christ, you little shit." So anyway, but it was a wonderful childhood, and we have no issues, and no one really has gotten therapy besides me and Lori, but maybe we all need a little something. So Brad, I guess we kind of have to, we're going to have you back next week. There's too many stories, but I do love the science and all the ingenuity, the MacGyverness of you making that door and all the tricks that you had is just kind of remarkable. For your age, you were like 10. I mean, it's just intuitive talent. I guess you had popular mechanics that maybe guided you a little bit, but a lot of it is just.
No.
But yeah, you're quite a remarkable brain there. Jeez Louise. No wonder I based Garth on you, exaggerating your cadence.
Oh my God, did you?
Yeah, well, I took it more like this. I can do things that nobody
Well, it's
understands.
funny. I can't do that voice anymore because you made it so popular. So now I have to impersonate you doing me to do the voice.
Well,
But
once in a while you do it because if I call you, you always go, "Hi, it's Brad." So that's the Garthian.
Nervous, I definitely revert back. But I remember we were at a party in John Schroyer's backyard, a barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
John came over with like 5 people, and he just said, "What have you been working on?" And I started telling him about this thing using sound waves to detect disease in your body, and I was explaining how it worked to him. And they just all were laughing. They're just laughing their heads off. And I'm like, it's not funny.
Well, it's because you're soft-spoken, and the understatement of it is funny. Like I do in my act, you brought the frog back to life. My God, Brett, a dead frog, you hooked it up, and now it's alive. Yeah, I brought him back to life. He'll never die again. So that's kind of, but that's why Garth in Wayne's World 1 had the stun gun thing. You advised me on that when I'd like to get by now, and they wouldn't let him in the club. Then he goes out and he gets battery cell pack. Brad was advising me, and he makes his own MacGyver-esque homemade stun gun, and he stuns the guy. So that was all based, that science part of Garth was based on you as well, as you can see, or we're seeing Brad on the screen, but you're not. You can hear. Shut up, Brad. He's telling us stories.
There's a story like that I think is pretty funny. I'm driving my car with Paul Contos and his girlfriend in the back seat, Tim Hall in the front seat. We're going up to the Fillmore to see a concert. And I had a positive ground car. It was Austin American. It was an Austin from Europe, from England, positive ground car, which everything was negative ground in the United States. And I had a cassette radio, and I hit a bump on the freeway, and the positive ground radio bounced up and hit the ground, and it arced, and smoke poured out of the dash, and there was flames, and it was just like horrible. And I knew exactly what had happened. So I just reached over, took the dash off of the car because I'd never tacked it down, grabbed some wires and pulled the wires out, and then put the dash back. And in that Garth word, I said, it's okay. I don't like to do it, but it's okay. I fixed it.
Okay,
And
I
they
fixed
just
it.
never forgot that. Just like, what?
What?
The car was like destroyed. And but I knew which wires to yank. And
Well, anyway, just to sum up, we have Lori. We'll call Dane. Are you mad, Dane? Then there was me doing all these characters. Scott was the musician. And Mark was the fine art painter. He was sort of a savant as a little kid too, with how he could just get a little picture of an Indian and paint something brilliant with pastels. And then Brad was the scientist. And then there was Bud and Billy. We never knew what they did. No, kidding. Billy was artistic and funny, and Bud was actually kind of funny and could play the harmonica and boogie woogie on the piano. It was really a creative family, a very intense family, really into music, really into movies, science fiction, and we laughed a lot. I mean, we were intense people, though. Well, give us that. Well, Brad, we're going to have you back because we have Larry Bubbles Brown's coming on. You know him and love him, right?
I know who he is. Yeah, I've heard him. I don't know if I've ever seen him live, though.
You would love him. But anyway, this has been great. Really, really interesting. Thanks, Brad. We'll check in with you later.
Okay.
All righty.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye.
What you doing, Dana Carvey?
Hello.
Larry Bubbles Brown. We just had Brad Garth Carvey on, and we got a little bit of a late start. So, but how are you?
I thought the show went into 3 overtimes. It's so hot.
I know. Well, we're cooking. We did a few little things, and we had a friend at Dex and Tom's who's was pickpocketed 3 nights in a row in New Orleans on vacation by ladies of the night who would frisk him and seduce him and then grab stuff.
Really?
A watch one night, a wallet the next night, and then a gold chain the third night. Now there's nothing left for them to take, so he's wandering free with his PBR and his hammer-headed liquor. But he's having a great time. He's a good sport about it.
Wow, that would freak me out.
Well, I would just, I'm not going to do that. I mean, if I did do it, I would go to a Five and Dime and get really, really, really cheap jewelry and cheap watches. You know, like $1 baubles, and just load up with that stuff. Yeah. So let them pour out the bag at the end of the night.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of stuff I have now, so I guess I wouldn't have a problem.
You have a promise ring from Becky from 1968, you know? The one that came out of the Cracker Jack box, all right? I did a red necky joke that was pretty good. I'll just say it again. For you, since you're such a joke smith, and I'm not a natural jokey guy. Red Necky, the redneck comedian. My mama said, "What's your dream, Red?" I said, "Maybe live in a shack and drink beer all day." She says it's dangerous to dream big because you always end up disappointed. Come and get some. Come and get some. My daddy said I'd never amount to nothing, but he was wrong. I'm over 500 pounds. Come and get some.
I can't wait for the Come and Get Some t-shirts. Those are going to be huge.
Yes. I keep, I think maybe at some point we'll do a Patreon paywall. I just think it'd be fun. Red Necky Presents. And it's on, we'll make it televised, and I'll get in a whole outfit so I just look like a giant redneck. And I host, and I have Joe Biden gives an address, and Larry Bubbles Brown appears. You do stand up. I don't know. It just seems like kind of a fun show. Red Necky Presents. 50 cents a pop. We get 20 million people to pay 50 cents. Do the math. That's 10 million smackers for, put on the fat suit and the buck teeth.
It'll be like that. Remember that thing Elvis did and stuff? Aloha from Elvis, and it was like I think it was a pay-per-view or something. I think he made a fortune. But Aloha from Red Necky.
Yeah, he's from Hawaii. Yeah, Red Necky, redneck
Hawaii.
comedian. Yeah, I got a Mai Tai named after me. It's called Gonna Die. Yeah. So anyway. Oh, Larry, do you have a joke? You don't. There's no pressure. You can just be a guest. But do you have a joke that you'd like to tell us?
I guess this is Memorial Day. Maybe I'll give 2.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. First joke of the week. I have this horrible ringing in my ears. I thought I had tinnitus. Turns out I live next to a church. It was always worse on Sundays.
I'm going to tell another one because I'd like to talk about that one.
Okay, well let me do this one. We'll go on both with a tooth and comb.
Yeah, because we're doing process this week. We're talking about how people do stuff. Okay, go.
Okay, the Las Vegas Raiders started out in Oakland, then they moved to Los Angeles, and back to Oakland, then to Las Vegas. That's the classic migratory pattern of someone trying to avoid child support.
Nice. So with both jokes, it's kind of like ringing in my ears and child support. You know, I mean, let's pick the first one. What hits your brain first? Like ringing in my ears is a funny. Funny.
Well,
but
I do have some tinnitus, so it's always been bugging me. And then one day I just thought, how could I turn that into a joke? And then I came up with the first punchline I had was, turns out I still have a landline. But that didn't work as good as it should.
Well, because you'd have to go, okay, ringing in my ears. What rings? What rings that crowds of people hear? Church bells.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's when I first started out. I kind of my jokes were all like that. You kind of had to make the connection, which was. And then I just became more blunt as I went along. But
I don't think
clever.
so.
I was more clever when I started, I think.
Well, there's two things that make me laugh. One is the idea of a comedian saying something, trying to be funny. Like we've always said, isn't the hardest laugh when your friend really commits to a joke on stage and it's just complete silence?
I love that.
You know, I mean, you can't help it. You're just, it's like a reflex. It's just so fucking funny of someone trying to lay out humor and not connecting. So, so I, with you, it's interesting because the jokes are nice and tight, economical. And, Chris was asking me earlier about chopping broccoli and, mine is sort of, I don't even know what you call that. You cold as ice. Paradise, the feeling was so nice. There's a lady I know. If I didn't know her, it'd be the lady I didn't know. My lady went downtown. She bought some broccoli. She brought it home. She's chopping broccoli. She's chopping broccoli. So there's not a joke within a million miles of that. It's just, but the idea is
it's hilarious.
The premise, at least, was the rock star who got rich, did too many drugs or whatever, and he's just bankrupt, but the record company wants his next new hit, and the second album always sucks. They've got the limo, the jet, the girls, the champagne, and they don't have anything to write about. There's no, his first album was like, and the lady loves me, daddy, and I ain't gonna die, everybody want it. Second album, she's cold as ice, and I think that was Journey or something. No, maybe Foreigner. Cold as ice, Paradise, the feeling was so nice. But your stuff, I like your stuff. Well, I love the premise of your character, your stage character, Larry Bubbles Brown, and that everything is sort of paints a picture of something negative.
Gloom and doom.
Gloom and doom, yeah. Well, we have a character, Johnny Victim, I've been doing. Just a guy, or the character Rain Cloud. His name is Rain Cloud. Maybe he'll open for Sad Saki. Rain Cloud, what happened? We went on a picnic. It was great for 3 hours, and it got kind of cloudy, and we left. Yeah, bummer. Jeez, but you had 3 hours of sunshine, and yeah, it was really nice. But then it was like, it was almost misty, sprinkling, man. Just had to get out of there. Sorry about that, Rain Cloud. Our point is it's a choice in life. You can either lay down in the gutter and say, I'm fucked, or you can go, this is a crazy ride, and I'm going for it. Look at Francis Cronin. For reference, see episode 13.
Complain about everything. God damn, this gold is so heavy.
Yeah. All these women trying to have sex with me. What is going on? Yeah. Well, anyway, this is all good. So, Larry, those were two great jokes. Thank you for the bonus this week.
Bonus track.
And
as you, yes, I've got my tech team is working feverishly, and actually, you might be seeing me soon on your show.
Ooh,
yes, Larry's going to get a
nice.
mic set up so he'll sound like he's in the room with us,
wow.
which is
Nice.
nice because this is the
Nice.
future. This
Very
work
cool.
from home,
Technology.
just be a million miles away. Have people in 2 states, looking like they're in the same room. So it's very nice.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm glad I thought of it. Anyway, Larry. Yeah.
I like the future. No human contact.
Oh, I remember a joke. I'll leave you with this. A joke I did on Twitter once. It seemed to get a reaction. We have to help the homeless, but what are we to do with the clueless? Something like that. I don't know.
I like
It's more of a witticism.
I like it.
I think, I mean, I remember when I got into my 50s and started taking little 10-minute naps, and a phrase that kind of helped me through that, energy is the new high. You'll see. I'm with all
get
these
it.
young people here. All these young people. But energy is like something you covet as you get into your later years. But
Absolutely.
I'm super fit, Cardiovascular. Criminy. Well, I mean, I hike up mountains every day. I go by Griffith Park. I'm there with all these people in their 20s, and I'm like in the fast lane, the freeway. But I've done this for 50 years. I just like hiking up hill hard and or running when I was running. But I will be running again soon.
Yeah.
Well, I ran with you one day in Griffith Park. You were taking those hills like a monster.
Well, you had calves the size of Nebraska. Well, Larry is an avid runner. He runs like an hour most days, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna as soon as we get done here, I'm doing 63 minutes today.
Wow.
Yeah, 63 minutes. That's a loop that usually takes 63 minutes.
Oh no, when I reached I started out doing 30 years ago, we're doing 8 minutes, and then every time I'd go another minute, I could never let myself run less than that the next time. So,
Oh, I see. So you ran 62 minutes yesterday, so today's 63. Eventually you'll be evac'd and packed in ice. No, it's great. That's why your brain is so sharp. Blood vessel health and brain health are incredibly associative. We aim to educate. Anyway, Larry, you've been awesome. We've been here for most of the day. And when you hear
Been a long day.
there's going to be a lot of what you doing, Dana Carvey, on this next episode. No, we have some really good stuff. Brother Brad, Max in New Orleans getting pickpocketed. I did a couple jokes. We had Larry did 2 jokes. Chris was here. Frank's hanging out before the. He's just hanging out today. And Dex Carvey on the levers. So anyway, this has been fantastic with Dana Garney. And we'll see you next week on iTunes and Spotify, wherever podcasts are listened to.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. Goodbye. Well, we got another one out. I'd say Max will be the funniest, and some of the Brad stuff will be great too.